Welcome to Lightworker Talk, and this is Christina. And I'm so delighted today, and I'm actually very excited because I have a very special guest, mi hermano, my brother that I've known for a very long time, very, very long time, Mark, all the way from London, UK. I'm so excited, and I'm so happy to have you with us here today. Welcome.
I'm very pleased to be here. I'm looking forward to it. Never done one of these before, but I'm sure it'll be great fun, and we will explore some interesting thoughts and journeys through this conversation.
Well, I sure hope so. Maybe we could talk a little bit about how we met first.
Yeah, that sounds like a good place.
And where did we meet?
Well, we met, I would say 22, 23 years ago at a healing group that was lasting about a year, wasn't it? It was a year-long training program for hands-on healing work with Ruth White. And I don't know, you didn't do any of the channeling stuff, did you, at that time with her? But
I don't think so. Well, no. One time.
Yeah, so she was great. And so, yeah, 22, 23 years ago we met. And I suppose our friendship has grown since then, really. And nothing's really changed between us. I think we're both pretty much on the same way of thinking. Obviously, we've grown individually, and we've opened up to more opportunities as light workers, and exploring new ways of working with it and being with it. So it's always a pleasure to see and to listen to new ideas, especially from you, Christina.
Oh, well, thank you, Mark. Well, I'm going to say also that I was just there visiting with you, with your beautiful family, and stayed with you in the UK, even though it was a very short time, and it was during some major earth or cosmic changes, because literally, I shared this on my previous podcast, that literally the day that I was coming to England on the plane, all of these things started to happen, where flights are being banned, and how's I going to get back? I was just kind of like, whatever, I need to go there and just experience whatever's going to happen. So I made it back. But at that time, I'm sure it started before that, of course, and it's been happening in preparation for, how length of time, but it really just started, that it was visible to all of these great changes that were taking place. So let me ask you, and we'll see where it goes from there. With all of these great changes that took place, lockdown, self-quarantine, the virus, everything that's taking place, how has this affected you and your life, and how are you applying your spiritual knowledge and wisdom and tools, just to deal with it?
Yeah, it's been. I think the first two. I've always been skeptical about all this kind of these kind of things that come out and go global. The conspiracy theories come out by the dozens, and for me, the biggest thing for me about this coronavirus is that whilst there are loads of conspiracy theorists and theories about it, some may be true, some may be not. I think the most important thing for me, 2 or 3 weeks within the whole thing really kicking off here in the UK and London, and with the lockdown, was to stay very much in the present, rather than getting caught up and pulled all over the place with people's wild ideas, whether they're right or wrong. And I think, having met lots of other and keeping in touch with lots of other light workers and friends who are kind of, very much into kind of metaphysics and so forth, I saw and heard some of them really flying off into different directions, which is exactly the whole process of this whole, if you want, this whole virus is meant to do, really. It's supposed to fragment society and people and really get them all to just not be grounded and centered. So for me, I think the most important thing on a personal level was to make sure that I didn't fall into that trap and to stay centered and focused and to be in the present. And that way, the fear of it all began to dissipate and dissolve around me and within me, because I went back into my own personal source within myself, which gave me back the kind of security and sense of reassurance in trusting myself rather than trying to trust whatever influences are being thrown at everyone out there. So that was a real important turning point for me, actually, on a spiritual level. But here as a family, we're getting on. We're all working from home as much as possible. We can go out for walks as long as it's local, to shops, but no socializing really. And I'm kind of starting to enjoy my own little time. Really, I'm resting, which is not what we do enough. So so I'm resting, and in between there, what's been amazing also is a lot of the shamanic circles and lodges that I'm a part of, well, 2 of them, have been very quick to adapt and be very flexible and create online circles on and through Zoom. So, for example, yesterday there was a 4-hour circle. Usually once a month I meet with at a lodge, a shamanic lodge in London. There's about 20 people who turn up, and we practice shamanism in different formats and different ways, and journeys in different ways. But the coordinator of this particular lodge arranged it to be done on Zoom. There was 25 of us, and it worked. There are a few technical issues here and there, but we're all spirit, and if you turn your mind to it, you can all still be in the circle, not in form but in energy. And so it was equally as powerful, equally a powerful experience. I really didn't feel as though there was a massive element missing, given that we weren't together on the physical level. So that's created, again, that's given me a sense of connection with other people, other like-minded people who are coming together. And in a funny way, it's bringing people closer. So it's interesting how things can evolve from a negative situation.
Well, there's always going to be a positive in there. There's a positive in our purpose. You've just got to look for that, be open to that, and explore it, really. And it is true that there's so many different positives that are happening, whether it's out in nature, with humans being inside, and different things that are taking place or changing out in nature as well, but within ourselves. And it's true. I mean, I'm used to being by myself most of the time, not all the time, but and so being with myself. It's not different for me. It's not dramatically, like, oh, this is a change. How do I adapt to this? And this is what a lot of people are having to adapt to this change. But if you're with a family, so you're spending more time with your family, that's going to create some dynamics, I'm sure. Being isolated. Right? And how do you deal with that? That's interesting as well. You're by yourself, then you're really going to be spending time by yourself. And this is the time to really, go within, because that's the way through, So there's a lot of, I think, amazing opportunities here for us all spiritually to evolve, on all levels, whatever path it is you're following.
I agree, and it's a time for reflection. It really is a time for reflection, and there's a lot of time to do it as well. So I think also, obviously working from home, I've got more time on my hands. I've been doing a lot of journeys, a lot of shamanic journeys. I've been making greater and deeper connections with my spirit guides on those journeys. I've been questioning them about where are we all at as a human race, and where am I at? I'm at on a personal level, and it's just using using the my shamanic practice as a way of tapping into my resources on a metaphysical level, to strengthen my resolve and to help me grow spiritually. I mean, one of the biggest things, what was quite shocking for me, on the personal level, was the issue of money. Okay, so my job is pretty much it's on tender hooks. We just don't know whether we're going to be around in 2 or 3 months' time because of all this. So that's a worry in itself, and it's made me realize how fragile we are in this world and how dependent we are on a very massive system that has managed to kind of glue us to its mechanisms and its devices. And as soon as those mechanisms and devices break down, that's it. We're left on our own, or we could be left on our own. So again, it goes back to, I went through this whole process of being terrified of that whole prospect of not having money and how, blah, 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 where's this going to go? And then going back again to the point which I made earlier on, is that if you can go back to yourself and your inner self and connect with your inner source and the source out there within the universe or consciousness, there is a great sense of consistency there, actually. A great sense of consistency, a great sense of reassurance. And that actually there's, what's going on here is just immeasurable compared to the whole universe that is out there to offer us as a structure and a home. So but again, I think it takes a type of mindset to be able to reflect on that and use it as a tool in the resolving mechanism to help me get centered and ground myself. And it's been a great mechanism for me. So yeah, I'm very pleased with that. So yeah, we just see where it's going to go now. No one really knows. It's uncertain. So, it could all wash out very quickly, or it could just go on, and then it just goes on another level, which I don't think any of us know about.
No, I don't think so. I think we have ideas and I think we have senses, but really, I think this is the time. A lot of people are calling this the Great Awakening, because there's going to be such great changes. It's a time of destructuring where the old way, disappearing and so that means that we're going to be creating the new way in all different levels. This is the opportunity. I can feel that as I say that, getting goosebumps, Do I know it all? Absolutely not. I can only deal with today, and that's it. And what that brings forth, within me, and what I put forth, in my environment. And I think, and again, that's when you're coming home to yourself, and that's the only way to do that right now. And it's a great opportunity, and it's great opportunity for insights. I can feel these changes. Some of them are very subtle, and even when I came back from England, after, my time there, I mean, I had, in some sense, this great clarity of what my next step is. I don't know the details, right? I just know that, okay, I've got to do this next. Where that takes me, what that is, I don't know. But what I'm doing is the preparation of that. So there's this, and I don't know, it's really strange for me because it's like a lot of the fear, not that I had great fear, but, we're multi-level. So it may be hidden over here or it may come out over here, whatever. But I can feel that there's much more lightness. I don't really have words for it yet. I've been still trying to explain it. But I can feel those nuances, those changes. So there's great opportunity here happening. That's all I can really do is just try to tap into it each day.
I think there are green shoots of people coming. Even my daughter who's 22. She's in that world, or this world where it's very driven by social media and a fast food society that we live in. Everything's quick and everything needs to be kind of money orientated, and I just keep thinking to myself, you know, her world is not going to exist in the way that we know it. It's not going to be that way in 15, 20 years time, you see. And you know, even she's beginning to see that. So she needs to, I think she's starting to become more aware that actually everything's just so fragile and nothing's certain anymore. And we need to be 2 steps ahead of that in our own mind and psyche, in our heart, because you know, if and when a bigger event takes place or a bigger shift takes place, if you're not prepared for it, the shock of that change can be well, it can, I suppose, just on a psychic level, just kind of obliterate you. You know, it might be too big to process right. On a metaphysical level. I'm not saying that would be the case for everyone, but I'm saying that the shock to those who are not slightly waking up, or who are not waking up at all, the shock to any potential major shift within the next 10, 15 years or whatever, maybe just too overwhelming. I'm trying to say, emotionally.
No, I understand totally.
Mentally. So, and how will those people cope? Well, I think those people will be the type that probably go into depression quicker, go into all kinds of kind of physical, mental, emotional illnesses quicker, because those mechanisms, those inner mechanisms of securing yourself within yourself and all that is out there hasn't been built in quick enough.
Exactly.
But you know, that's not a kind of gloomy, doomy kind of view of things. I just think that's just the way it would probably pan out, you know. And those who are awake would be there to help those who probably are, you know, need lifting and carrying, and which that's the way it should be as well, you know.
And we prepared for this for a long time. We really have. You know, all of us in different ways have been prepared. And that's what I was talking about on my last podcast, is that I felt that in the moment where, again, I literally, on some level, chose to travel at the exact same time that some major changes were implemented. And yet I didn't feel fearful at all. So it was like, you know, that years of preparedness, my spiritual preparedness in whatever capacity, you know, it's there. It came online, you know. It was automatic. It's there. And I said I got goosebumps, so I'm speaking the truth. And it's I don't know, it just brings me joy, right? And I know there's a lot of, you know, things that people say, how could you say that? All this stuff is happening out there. And I know some people with the virus, and I'm like, listen, I empathize, I love you, and I can assist if you want, but right now, this is your time. You can do this. You can do this. You need to go within. Like, it makes me kind of want to cry, because it's like, I know this is the opportunity. People, please take it. But for me, I just know that I have to just, you know, be myself, be here, and just trust in the process.
I also think, and what I'm picking up is that those, you know, this coronavirus thing has brought to light a lot of issues about where people are at in the world and in their own lives. And I think it's even those who are not, I've noticed even those people who are not religious, bound to any religion, or not metaphysical in mind, or don't have a spiritual agenda, even those people are starting to see things in a different way. They're starting to feel things in a different way. They won't be articulating it in the same way that you might do, or I might do, or others might do. But there's a sense of something's shifting. And that's brilliant. That's exactly what you want. You know, no one has to experience the change or the changes in the same way, you know.
Right.
And we're all individuals at the end of the day, and we all, even though we're connected, we're going to feel it and be driven and be influenced by it in a different way. And that's great, because that means that there is more of a drive towards a collective consciousness moving in the right direction. And that's, I'm hoping that that is how things will go, in the long run. But I don't think this coronavirus thing is a global life-changing experience. I think it's just a little eye-opener to what might be bigger on the other side, to bigger
it's a catalyst, like a catalyst. It's like a catalyst.
Exactly, yeah. So, this is mild compared to what could happen, I would imagine. I don't know what, but I don't know. But this seems mild. And also there have been worse things that have happened on this planet since then.
This is true. This is true.
Right. So it's a blip, really. But I think it's a great. It's got its positives and negatives. We just need to come out the other end wiser, from it, and better. We'll see.
Exactly.
We'll see.
Exactly. So have you found, I know you said a little bit that you've been able to go deeper and, communicate more with your guides and that. Do you, or have you experienced, I don't even know how to ask this question really, but the more expansive, like have you felt your consciousness maybe shift into another level yet, or?
Absolutely. And that's been profound in the last 2 weeks. And there have been there are some entities, or if you want to call them that, some spirits that have been coming forward closer to me. When that happens to me, I always feel more expanded, because I'm actually merging with them on a different. I'm being multidimensional with them in a sense, right. and so are they. So it does give me automatically that sense of expansion and a bigger connection to what is more out there or in there, if you like. Yeah. So
clearer communication.
Pardon?
Is it clearer communication? Do you find?
Some are clear, but it's more about just presenting themselves as a sense of reassurance. Yeah, so it's more about just being there in a time, if I have a thought in my head, there are particular characters that will come in. They won't necessarily interfere with my thought process, but they'll come in, and there'll be almost like a kind of, I suppose, a telepathic communication between the two of us, which is non-verbal. It's more emotional driven rather than it's just kind of an exchange of emotional responses to the thought process. So it's very subtle, even though I see them in my mind's eye, if you like, as beings. Not always, but yeah, sometimes. So, but yeah, they're definitely coming through. So that gives me a sense of expansion anyway.
Right. Well, I remember years ago you used to channel, do you still do that, or
what is channeling? But
go ahead, share.
What is channeling? I mean, it's for me. It's the word that was correct word, if you want, 20 years ago, but it's now. What's the difference between that and me having that connection with a spiritual entity that I've just mentioned? It's a form of channeling. Yeah, it's what's remote viewing? Well, actually, I've just come to the conclusion that a lot of what shamanism is remote viewing. Yeah, it's very much about tapping into wherever you want to go with a positive intent, and just drawing information from that entity or that place or that rock.
Interdimensionally.
Yeah. So what is? So they're all words. They're all keywords that are used by different people in different languages, but actually they all actually gravitate to the same outcome, or whatever that is. And that's about exchange of communication and information on an energetic level. That's what channeling is. So is remote viewing. So is shamanism. And so is whatever spiritual aspect, even Christianity, any religion. You're connecting to a source that is framed within a language and loaded with loads of symbols and mythology and so forth. So it's how you choose to break it down and where you want to, what method is right for you. As simple as that, really.
Right. Well, it's your own innate abilities and as you do more of the work, they become heightened and more expansive. You know, for me, I'm never would ever say I have channels, but I have the ability at times or whatever to hear. So for me, it could be it's clairaudience, it's telepathic, or it's inner. I have more inner sight where, you know, clairvoyance is the external, seeing the external metaphysical world. For me, I see it within my mind's eye, so it's different. So it's just my abilities and how I have honed them in, or how I've
Exactly.
you know worked with them, you know, and so that's it. So, but I just put it out there because years ago, so it's wonderful to see how you've come to, you know, a different sort of understanding of it from, you know, 20 years ago to till now. Yeah.
So, you know, and I think that's beautiful, you know, because, you know, the moment we stay still with, where we think it might be at and where we think metaphysics starts and stops, is that's a mistake, you know, because, you know, that's, I suppose, in a sense where religion may have its faults, in that it locks you into a way of thinking, and prevents you from kind of expanding outside of that box. Yeah, I mean, religion is a great thing in its own way. It's a great platform. I benefited from it when I was, you know, a child and teenager, and I actually probably argue that a lot of my experiences as a Christian has, you know, where I'm at now, even though I don't practice it anymore, has stemmed from that, because it was the beginning, a root that allowed me to evolve from it. But I was not going to be allowing myself to be locked in it.
Right.
Yeah. And so actually one of my teachers and guides on the upper world from the shamanic point of view, yeah, is actually the Virgin Mary, or the essence of the Virgin Mary. Yeah, the energy of the Virgin Mary. I call her a slightly different name, but I know that's the energy that's come in. And she was, and it's quite interesting how, when I was a child, and you know, there's a lot of trauma, a lot of in my family with my mother and my father. You know, it was always a difficult relationship. My mother and father was always arguing and fighting. It was always a very unhappy home. And as a child, I would always turn intuitively to the Virgin Mary, and it was a sense of security. I used to tap into her.
Mother figure.
Pardon? Yeah, exactly.
Mother
So
figure.
it's a metaphor of that, and I understand that as a symbol and as a metaphor. And but you have to remember that symbol and metaphor is an energy. Yeah, it has a quality to it. So and so now that I'm, you know, 30 years later, I was surprised when I was doing one of my journeys, that when I was asking for, you know, who is the teacher in my upper world from a shamanic point of view, and she came through, I rejected her, right? Because immediately I went into, oh my God, this has got everything to do with Christianity. And it took me several months to actually realize that actually, forget the Christianity, that's just a framework, yeah? I then took her outside of that Christian framework and realized that actually she was an energy. It's an energy, it's a metaphor, it's a symbol. It exists, it's vital, it has all those qualities of a caring, angelic mother being, if you like, yeah? I'm just now experiencing that source in a different way and using it in a different way. So that's my whole point, is that we can't stay stuck. We have to evolve with it.
Exactly.
We have to evolve with it, and sometimes it will force you to evolve with it. You know, it will force you outside of that box. You know, just when you think you're getting safe and it's cozy, right?
Yeah.
It's time to throw you out the window.
Yeah. And throw a wrench into the center of it. Yeah.
So and that's what I thrive off. You know, I personally thrive off the changes, and I'm constantly kept on my feet with it all. So I adapt, and because I adapt, I suppose I get, you know, I feel that expansion. You know, so what more can I ask for? That's it. Simple, really. Yeah.
It is. It actually is. We've made it all so complicated, but that's okay.
Yeah.
we'll get back to the more simplicity of life, you know, which is what it's really meant to be. And that's the more graceful and joyful, you know, journey through this exploration of consciousness that we're on. So, oh, that's so wonderful. I mean, this has been a great conversation. I mean, we could just probably keep talking. Maybe you'll come back on again, but any words of wisdom or anything you would like to share with us at this moment?
I'd love to come back. Just let me know and we'll organise it. It's been great fun. But words of wisdom, you know, I think it's really important to stay honest with one's own feelings. Okay, if one's feeling scared, frightened, unsure, it's fine. Just need to stay with it. Go into those feelings and find a way from wherever you are inside to allow yourself to give yourself that security that already exists in there.
True.
And just be honest with those feelings and don't be frightened to bring them closer. You know, bring them closer. They've got a lot of positive things to say and teach in their own way. So that's the only thing I would suggest. You know.
Beautiful. Well said. Thank you, Hermano. So appreciate it. This has been fun. Actually, it's a great day start to my day. Anyways, my day starting. Yours is winding down. But still, I can see. I wish you guys could see. If this is on video, Mark sitting in this amazing chair that looks like he has angel wings. Oh gosh, I wish I could take a picture of it. But next time, maybe later on, I'll start doing this on videos. But right now, so thank you very much, Mark.
Cool.
I love you very much. Many blessings and love and blessings to the family.
Thank you.
See you real soon. All right, take care. Bye.
Bye.
I so hope you enjoyed today's podcast and that it gave you some insights or some little bits of gems to guide or support you on your spiritual journey. I so love connecting with fellow lightworkers. I hope you will tune in again as I will have more wonderful guests. If you would like to help support the ongoing of Lightworker Talk, you can support me on a monthly subscription. Please see the main page and look for the support button. There is a choice of 99 cents, $4.99, or a $9.99 subscription. I would like to offer an extra incentive or gift for each subscription. For 99 cents, you'll get a 5-minute Ask a Question or intuitive reading. For $4.99, you'll get a 15-minute, and for $9.99, you'll get a 30-minute session or question. And this can be private or if you want to share it on air. If there are any sponsors with products or services that resonate or complement Lightworker Talk, I would be happy to connect and help support you also. Thank you for tuning in, and I will be back soon with more wonderful guests. I would like to close with a message from the infinite source that came through me several years ago. All life will change when it knows its source of inspiration.